Just finished my cardio, guys. What's good? It's the Savage. Oh yeah, baby. Rick Savage. I want to touch on something here. A lot of us will have while we're working out, we'll find out we have prominent body part, and also people have lagging body parts. But for prominent, meaning like there's a muscle that you train that stands out. It stands out, you know. And maybe you don't train it that much, or you do, but it grows really quickly. Everyone is different. Everyone is different. Like for me, maybe my biceps grew big because of desertion, because I have short bicep muscle belly. And another thing is my traps. Actually, I never really had big traps, really, until maybe 7 years into training, when I started doing more compound lifts. Then my traps grew like there's no tomorrow, because I put in the stress on it from the exercise. With the right exercise routine and the right stimulus, and given a training and nutrition, it's gonna grow. It's gonna grow. But another thing that I must touch upon is the fact that the reason why sometimes we might have muscles that just grow bigger is because has to do with genetics, really, and it's hereditary, and DNA is involved, in the sense that certain muscle groups that maybe genetically was utilized more by your ancestors and through passed down through, you know, the DNA, hereditary from your parents, that should be in question too, in the sense that, you know, muscles that were worked lots, you know, will stand out on a person. Take for example calves. You'll notice that genetics determines calf size too, and body mass of people. Usually people with that big body mass have those big calves, and they don't even train them really. It's just genetic. They can be a little bit heavy, but you'll find that certain ethnic groups have those bigger calves. Like people that had to go uphill. If you find people that live in the hill areas, in mountainous areas, those people have big calves. And who are those people? Probably ethnic groups like Scottish people, maybe Eastern Europeans, Russian, Polish, maybe Norwegian people, maybe German people. So you'll find that wherever there's like Alps and hills and stuff, the people from those countries have those big calves, you know. That's why a lot of those guys are in the strongmen, because they have big legs, big calves too, which make up the big legs. So calves, you know, you'll find that African American people or African people have smaller calves, but they are very explosive. And where do they live? They live in like sub-Sahara Africa area, where it's plains and grasslands, not too many mountains, and they do a lot of walking and stuff. But yeah, the geography pretty much determines that. If it's flat, then you really don't, those muscles are not used at climbing up those hills. If you climb, you say you just walk up a hill or even run up a hill, you'll notice the burden in those calves, because those calf muscles get stimulated. So certain things like that. So coming back to the traps, maybe my traps grow quickly, and maybe other people too. It's a genetic thing, maybe, without much training. Is the fact that maybe my ancestors used to carry stuff long distances. We used to carry stuff in both hands, kind of like the farmer's walk, or when people hold those things, weights in each arm, and just walk, drag it, walk. So maybe in my ancestry, my ancestor did that. They carried stuff in both hands and had to go far distance, and it's just going to cause the stretch in the trapezius muscles. Because there's an anecdotal story of a Muay Thai fighter that he was very skinny, and to gain weight, these guys didn't really lift weights, but his coach told him to take 2 pails of water and just walk with it And as he did that, he would increase the weight as he got bigger and stronger. And over time, his traps blew up. If you see pictures of this dude, Muay Thai fighter from Thailand, his traps are just crazy big. It just like, it's a muscle that just stands out the most on his frame. He might have smaller muscles everywhere else, or not much muscle at all, but his traps are just humongous, like a cobra or something. Looks like it's a cobra head. So yes, certain muscle that gets activated a lot is gonna grow. And maybe it's in the DNA, because that's what those people in Thailand did. They carried wood and water from long distances and all that. So maybe my ancestors did that too, because let's see, my ancestors are probably in the desert area. They're from Rajasthan, India, so it's a desert land, and they probably had to go far distances in the scorching heat, and they had to carry stuff with them, so they're getting that stretch in the arms and the traps. So it makes sense. Makes sense how history, genetics, and training, and physical energy and physical prowess, all that, get mixed together, and we come out with this, premise or hypotheses. This is hypotheses of mine. That if your ancestors did something that targeted a specific muscle, that muscle is going to stand out in themselves and into the next offsprings that come along. If they were to, engage in that muscle, maybe in the past I didn't drag the whole things for a long period of time, and so it didn't grow. But once I started doing cleans and deadlifts and high pull exercises, these types of lifts where it causes a stretch in the traps, then they just grew like there's no tomorrow. It's a little small, not really focusing on them and those compound lifts right now, but that's probably hit the jackpot in some way. And hopefully you guys can understand what I'm talking about. Hopefully it's not just some gibberish I'm talking about. Hopefully it makes sense, because we can train calves all day and still not get that huge size, because it's genetics passed down from different. Everyone's different. Everyone's DNA and bone structure is different, body structure. And then you can talk about other groups too. Like West African people are so good at explosive exercise like sprinting and jumping, and maybe basketball too. You can say is because they had to like really sprint and run a lot from animals. Because in West Africa is more is where the Serengeti is, where there's lions and animals. So people there had to, really had to be explosive and fast. So over time, during, human history, people evolved to have certain muscles that just had power. So you notice that like they have explosive glutes and hips. They have wide hips, a lot of African American people. Even the women, you see all the track stars, the sprinters, they have that in them. That's what they say. The East Africans are different than the West Africans. East Africans are more leaner, not much muscle mass, and more the body's more into endurance, long-term duration of exercise. So which requires less muscles and more slow twitch muscle fibers. Fast twitch, slow twitch. So I hope that made some sense. We can like look at that, and maybe if there's something else we can bring up, definitely I'll discuss that. But probably why that's some people, their traps blow up, because the family line used to do that type of work where it required those muscles to be activated, like farming and all that good stuff. So keep training hard, get all the muscles big, don't have any lagging muscle groups, and if there are, we'll find the cure and we find the reason why. And we always got to know why we got to know everything, why this is that, why that is that. Keep learning, because fitness is all about learning too, and knowledge. Just holler back at me. Stay tuned for more Rick Savage productions and content. I'm out, guys. This video is long now, almost 10 minutes. How's the traps? No stimulation, still there. I'm out.